I want this to be pretty free flowing and not really too like doesn't have to go any direction. So if there's any questions or whatever, just direct it that way. But I guess the first kind of question is like, yeah, what was kind of like your journey with alcohol and drugs? You sort of had you have the background of being a PT now. What was there a journey coming into being a PT, and before that, was there like some sort of thing that happened that allowed you to change your life direction, or yeah?
Ooh. So I've spent lots of time thinking about this and going back. And so I started drinking when I was about like 14. Started doing um, alcohol and drugs at that age. The big catalyst for that was that my father had left to Australia. So him and my mother weren't together growing up, but he was still around, so we could visit him, go to holidays, all of that kind of stuff. And then he left for Australia, and at like 13, 14, for a young male, that's when you need that masculine influence to show you how to navigate the world as a man. And like he kind of disappeared, and so I always knew when I was younger, because I've always been active, played sports, stuff like that. Like I wanted to do something within that field. Specifically, was like become a All Black, as most Kiwi young boys want to do. But at that point, of my father leaving and it being like a huge part of like wanting to make him proud, and then being like, oh fuck, well, what's the point now? Because bro's not around. He obviously doesn't care, and yeah, so we started drinking and doing mainly marijuana at that point. And then it kind of just grew as it went, So this was this ideal of becoming this All Black, living this type of life, this fitness, but then you're like, oh, what's the point? And you slowly move into this like more alcohol, more partying, more things, your discipline within the going to training and doing your outside curriculum so you can get better at rugby. Because I was in the first 15, it just waned away, and it was like partying and everything was the thing to do on the weekends.
Yeah.
And then I think for a good part until I got to about 19, 20, I was like, fuck, try to crack at it again. Hey, like, bro, what have I been up to? You kind of realize, I fucked around with a whole lot of my time, just getting pissed, going to parties, all of that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, let's get back into it. Let's go play rugby again. Let's go study, sports leadership at Te Wānanga Aotearoa. So I went and did that.
Huh.
Went and got into super mean shape again. Was playing rugby, all of that kind of stuff. Met this lady, and then you kind of have this another tragedy, I guess, which kind of throws you off, and especially if you don't know how to process and deal with things, it kind of sends you back to the things that you inherently just do, which was drinking and all of that. So we fell back into that again. Yeah, that part. And then the PT came the year after, so we were still in it. We were still kind of in it, but weren't really kind of committed to actually making it happen. It was just like another thing to go study, get on the piss with the bros that were doing it as well, go to town, all that kind of stuff. Because I think that is the vibe, right? With New Zealand, it's get pissed with your bros, go to town, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's a few things from that. I love that you share that fully authentically, man. The things that I struggled with and that you might be able to relate was because I was similar to you and being like excelling really well in sport. And the thing that I realized is that when you are striving for all this sport achievements, did you find that it was quite hard to disconnect from alcohol because sport itself has such a centered around alcohol so much to celebrate and so you'd have all these achievements, and then you just go straight into like drinking afterwards to celebrate, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it was just so hard to disconnect, and that led to just, oh, might as well just go get pissed on the weekend if that's what I'm going to do, you know.
Yes.
Was that your experience?
Yes, 100%. It's still even now. Like I still play Prems rugby. If it's your first game, you have to scull a drink. You know, if you win a game, the beers are there. You know, so like it's kind of built into the culture of rugby, especially club rugby.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's what you breed into after schools. You go to club rugby, and then again you're exposed to alcohol, and alcohol is in the sheds. It's like it's just kind of funny enough ingrained its way into what do you call such fundamental aspects of being human, which is connection. You know, culture, connecting to people, socializing, and somehow it's found its way to be the center of almost all socialization, which is like, I guess, super smart on part of alcohol and their marketing and shit to employ that right into there. But definitely, it's like it's very hard to get away from.
Yeah, especially when you're coming into the new space as well, like you say, from school to club, you have initiations, and they're generally pretty brutal in how much you have to drink or what you have to do, and so it creates a separation of instantly. If I don't do this, then I won't be a part of the team, or that feeling like I'm not part of the team if I don't go to these things after the game, or so it's from my experience, it's been, yeah, you feel like you're excluded if you don't, you know, like you won't be a part of the team, and you just won't get invited to the trainings or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I read, what is it? It's like men's. It was like a men's group book, and it's like looking back at the communities that we used to have before, I guess, industrial age. You know, where people lived in communities, and within those communities, the men would come together and socialize and connect and everything like that. And so within those communities, those kind of initiations or those rites of passage towards like manhood was like actually doing something kind of challenging for the younger males to find their way into this kind of manhood of like leadership and understanding like your roles and your duties. And then now it feels like your 21st is your initiation to manhood. And what are we doing with the 21st? We're fucking getting pissed. We're smashing a yardie.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what really is that initiating us into, which is pretty much more binge drinking and partying and everything like that. And that's not something I kind of figured out until a lot later on, you know?
That's a great perspective, because I just have a family member at the moment just done their yardie over the weekend over in Australia, and it's just like, yeah, wow, that was me for one. I didn't do a yardie, but I did a lot of drinking, and yeah, like you say, there is this challenge to this manhood, and yeah, we're just setting we're just setting ourselves up to fail essentially, and I'm really wanting to just bring awareness to the space so that you don't necessarily need to give it up like I have now, but it's just bringing awareness to it, to not like need it to that degree, and not be so socially acceptable to get to that point of being absolutely drunk, not remembering the night, and it being okay and being accepted at home, and you know, allowed to drink at home. Like I was allowed to drink at home, and not blaming anyone for my experience, but just this acceptance of the degree that we get to is the extremes, and yeah, just really wanting to change that.
I feel like being around a lot of kids at our gym. A lot of them go to uni and stuff like that, and then also experiencing that kind of uni student kind of life as well. I'm not saying it is, but I feel like a good part of some people's decisions to choose a certain university is based on party life. Like look at what is it, down Dunedin?
Yeah,
You know that I think
100%.
it's Castle Street. You know, like that place is fucking horrendous, but yet they have mean parties and stuff like that. And it's like, well, you're not supposed to be going to uni to party, like, and continue on the school. You know, the things that you did in school, because I feel like that the things that you do in school, then you kind of want to trickle them on into your university, and then some people continue to behave like children later on in their life as well. But it's fucking wild, because I worked in the nightclubs as well, out back here in Hamilton, and you saw it over the years. I did 2.5 years, like the progressive nature of people just getting more fucked up as the months would go on, and there would be particular people that you just knew, because they would become so frequently, and they would just come and get fucked up. And now that I look at it, I'm like, fuck, something must have been like happened in this person's life for them to want to engage in such behavior on like a regular basis.
Yeah. That must have been really good perspective for you for those 2 years to be able to be on the other side and looking at it.
Yeah. I mean, we were immersed in it too, because as people say, or you've heard before, you know, bouncers can power trip, and we did at times. We'd find people in the toilets with drugs, bags, use fear tactics. Like, we can't really take it from them, you know, because we're not legally allowed to, nor are we illegally to physically remove someone unless the means ask for it. But we would take their drugs, and then we would go put it in the staff room, rail them up, and then go tell the bros, fucking lines in the toilet, bro. And then we're all high as fuck working as well. You know?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's so buzzy. Yeah, like, and I guess that culture of that work is that becomes the norm as well. So then again, you're just feeling excluded if you're not a part of that.
Yeah, and then because we worked in the weekends, everyone parties on the weekends. Then you'd have hospitality night is on Tuesday, so all the workers would party on the Tuesday night, and so sometimes you're getting pissed Friday, Saturday, maybe carry on Sunday, go to work Monday, fucked up. Tuesday comes, get on the piss again. So you just never right, bro. Like, you never make it back to the sense of normality, because you're always just trying to recover from the weekend or the days that have just gone.
Yeah, I fully relate to that in terms of like never being able to like recover. And what I found in those spaces is that it doesn't allow for like reflection and to be like, oh, what am I actually doing here? Unless something really serious happens in your life and it allows you to change. Was there like a moment for you, or like hardship or something that you're like, oh, I actually need to make some serious change?
Yeah. There would have probably been, so what ties into everything too is like, I grew up with eczema, and I grew up with cold sores. So a sense of my self-image and the way I saw myself and my self-worth growing up was also kind of impaired, and not knowing how to deal with that, as school's ruthless.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
School's ruthless. If you haven't prepared your children for school or what other kids will do, because other kids are fucking straight up, right? They'll just bully you. They'll just tell you. So you might have like or eczema like myself, and quite visible everywhere. You're getting teased by other students. You're getting asked by teachers, like, am I on drugs or some shit? Because I'm sitting there scratching, and I'm like, fuck, dude, like, I'm just got X-Men. So this is all playing in your head too, and you just build this kind of, I guess, negative image of yourself, and that kind of led into also the drinking and all of that as a way to kind of numb it out, escape from this kind of internal suffering that you had. And then there was that point of kind of recuperating, getting myself back into, like, you're like, fuck, I nearly, because you say you're going to do something, you start doing it, and then you fall back. That also compounds on, like, your image that you're creating of yourself. And so you're saying, I'm going to do this now, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to, pull myself away because I know this is bad for me, da 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 da. And I got to a point where I had a good streak again, got healthy, everything like that. Everything's kind of coming more clear. And then I went on a trip to Taiwan, cultural exchange with some of the bros. And again, because it was so present and it was the behaviors of everyone around me, you kind of succumb to everything. And then we would perform that day, then we'd go get pissed that night. And so that was like 2 weeks of just getting on the piss. And then the catalyst upon this point is, as I came back, like, my eczema just fucking became horrendous. Like, it was just the worst I had ever had. All over my face, all over my body, like, would scratch myself to sleep. Like, I got videos of like the amount of skin that I would wake up on the bed, and like you're just peeling yourself off. And the worst thing about it was, like, when you would try to have a shower, showers are generally like real calming and pleasing. Just jump in and you kind of relax. I would fear having the shower simply because it would sting.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm like, I don't want to have a shower, but I need to have a shower to clean. And then it was just kind of at this point where you're just crying, you're getting infections because your skin is just weak. So dirt gets in there. You now have this infection. I had this fucking one where it's like, that just grew all over my face. Got pictures of that shit too. And it just became like, what is it? Cradle cap. It looked like cradle cap, but like everywhere. And that was kind of just me beaten to the floor of like, fuck, bro. And I'm just sitting there a lot of times by myself, just like crying, being like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore, because this is painful. I don't want to go outside. You're trying to escape from just everything. And like, you think if you haven't processed the past either, that's still there. So everything's just compounded. And I think just at one point, because my nana had passed that year too, and she was very close to us. And there's just this one point where I remember just crying, like just sobbing in the shower because it was painful. I was like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore. And then my nana said, like, it's not your time. You have more to give to this world. And that's just kind of what I heard in my head. And I was like, fuck. Like, yeah. And that kind of just gave me this sense of like, keep going, bro. You can do it. And then from that point, that was like the catalyst of, okay, I need to change now. And it's slowly over, I'd say, probably be about 6 years. So I kind of started around when I was 25. I'm 31 now. So that was like the journey of from then to where I am now. And that was kind of it, bro?
Wow.
That was kind of it.
Shot Nana.
Shot Nana. She came through once again.
Yeah. I love Nana's. Yeah, my grandma was definitely a big impact for me stopping alcohol. She called me an alcoholic straight to my face. And she was somebody that was always fully authentic, and I really respected. She would always show up to my sport and stuff where a lot of other people wouldn't. And so, yeah, when she called me out, it was like, whoa, fuck. Like,
yeah.
oh, am I? Like, so that sort of led me in down a different path, the start of a different path to actually start questioning. But man, what a journey, dude! And so that's crazy that you're experiencing that. And my brother actually had extreme eczema to the same degree. Um, so yeah, it's quite buzzy that you've had this experience as well. Like what you had this you've gone through it and you've had this moment. You said it was like a 6-year journey. What do you mean from 6 years from when you had that moment um, to now? Was it like a straight flick of the switch for you, or was it like a gradual process to get to where you are? Like, as in, like, I don't know what your relationship with alcohol is now, but yeah, was it like a gradual process for your health and to get to? I mean, you're looking pretty vibrant and healthy now, and what you're doing with your PT stuff. So yeah, was it kind of like a flick of the switch and it kind of just all landed into place, or was it kind of like a gradual process?
Oh, it was definitely a battle. There was definitely a battle because I smoked a lot of weed too. Like when I started smoking weed, and then because my mother also smoked weed. Once she figured out I was smoking it, she was just like, "I would rather you smoke it in a safe place."
Yeah.
So she kind of allowed us to smoke it at our house, and then that inversely kind of created an environment where I could just smoke weed every day. So I was going to school high as fuck, come home get high as fuck. Like it was just high 24/7 pretty much. But yeah, coming back to this journey, the first thing was like the alcohol. It was kind of like, well, my experience of it is like the extremes. So, and I kind of pin that down to the lack of understanding of who I was. So you kind of claimed these external things as identities. So we went from the party person living that kind of lifestyle to then this person of extreme discipline, you know, like I switched to this point where like alcohol's bad, partying's bad, you know, where you're now you're essentially putting people down of you drink, you shouldn't be doing that, da, 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 da. And it went like that for a while. And though I see now it wasn't like healthy in a sense, it also helped me to get to where I am. So there was some value in that extreme discipline because it learned or taught me that I can push through something. Like I fell into, I don't know if you've ever seen Wes Watson.
Nah.
Wes Watson. He's like this. He was a criminal in America, and now he's like a billionaire. And I first saw his videos, which kind of helped in that time of like realizing I had to change, because he was talking about prison. He's like, you don't want to fucking go to prison, like that shit will fuck you up. You're not ready. And that was kind of because I was selling drugs and everything. You know, we're just immersed into that whole lifestyle. I was like, fuck, I don't want that either. And so he was very good with his words and speaking like philosophy and what he taught from jail now, but he had extreme discipline perspective to how he was doing things, like his his program that he learned within jail, you know, very restrict. You have to do it like this, extreme, waking up early as fuck, exercising, and eating healthy. That was kind of the extreme discipline that we took. So in part it helped, but also it was like me claiming an identity of extreme discipline. I wake up early, I work out every day, I eat healthy. But now that I've become wiser, I can see that this dude is just a fucking scammer, and like he still claims this extreme discipline for what he does. Where it's like, and what you're trying to say is like we don't have to inherently say something's bad and completely avoid it. We just need to know that we are still in control.
Yeah.
And that's what the discipline or the extreme discipline taught me, is like, I am in control. And then I can, if I want to, drink, but I know that if I drink, these are the consequences. I have to deal with those consequences, but also I will get back on track straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of been like rolling like that, in a sense of like, you might end up having a drink or a smoke. You sit there, you regret it, and you're like, fuck, shouldn't have done that, because you're on this kind of other journey of like trying to figure out yourself. And so that's priority. And there was one thing he did say. He had a quote. He said, between the call of your conscience and the guideline of regret is the path you must walk.
Can you say that again? Say that again.
Between the call of your conscience and the guideline of regret is the path you must walk. So your conscience is kind of telling you, this is what you need to be doing. This is the direction you need to go. This is what's aligned with, what you want. And then if you do something that's out of alignment, you experience regret. And then regret's trying to tell you, like, hey, bro, this is not the way that you want to go. This is why you're experiencing these feelings.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like that, the whole time. It's like, you'd go have a drink. Fuck, I actually regret this. Okay. And then I guess as the time went, over that time of like figuring out myself, who I want, what I want to do, that's when I developed that understanding of, this is my conscience is saying this is regret, and I can make more, I guess, decisions that are based on, my own actions. So I'm choosing to do this. I'm not being influenced by something.
Yeah. Yeah, fully. You're fully choosing it because like you say, the consequences, and you're choosing it because you actually genuinely want to do it, not being influenced by other people, like telling you, oh man, why are you not drinking? Come on, man, be fun, or whatever, and that affecting your state.
Yeah.
Yeah, fully agree, man. Fully agree. So what I'd be super curious to like hear from your perspective now as being a PT, like you must see quite a few like people coming in and out in the gym. Is alcohol or drinking a more of a challenge, or is like eating more of a challenge for people when they're on their health journeys?
I think it's very contextual. Some people if all of us have an addiction, right? All of us struggle with something. So some people just really struggle with food, but a lot of people still consciously understand. They even know, because they will tell you, like, the reason why they're not achieving their goal is because they drink too much. They're like, I have too much beers on the weekend. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, like you're literally saying the problem, but that's the same problem every time you come in. And most of these people, like if you work with me, obviously I go through a big stage, like just looking at how I process my journey. A big initial part of the stage is just changing the mindset. It's just changing the way someone thinks and they perceive the idea. So if you even look at a lot of the content that I do around like takeaways, the whole point of that is just to change the perception and get people to see it for what it is, not for what people are trying to fear-monger you into saying, like, oh, McDonald's is bad for you. It's not bad for you. Like, if I eat McDonald's right now, I'm not going to need to go to hospital. Yeah. It's just being mindful, and it could be exactly the same with like alcohol and drugs and stuff like that. It's not gonna help you. Yeah. But it's not inherently bad for you if you consciously choose to have that. If you feel safe with the people that you're with, and like you're actually having a good time, and you're not being like we said, being influenced by other things, external factors. So you definitely get it a lot, especially women. women, and they're generally the middle-aged people, and I'm just assuming like it's been habitual. They've kind of just done it for a very, very long time, and they struggle to kind of get out of it. But that kind of middle-aged women and men, too many beers, too many beers after work or on the weekend, and then the females like wine.
Yeah, Buzzy. That's an interesting perspective. Like, and from a physiological point in the body, what would you say? I just give the context of we can live like 3 to 5 days without liquid. We can live maybe a little bit longer, but and roughly that, and about 3 to 5 months without food. That kind of points to me like the importance of fluid in our body, but I'm not a PT and I don't fully understand the body to an in-depth level. Just from your perspective, would you say that water or liquid that is going into our bodies is more harmful than food? Or, again, depends on the context.
Is that the alcohol?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah. Alcohol, as soon as... So if we talk about fat loss, because that's what a lot of people want, right? It's fat loss. As soon as you drink alcohol, your body is now prioritizing removing the alcohol from the body, so it's no longer burning fat, And it's not the alcohol that essentially people have to worry about. It's like everything that they eat after they drink, because everyone gets pissed, then they have a late night munch, and so your insulin's being spiked, insulin being your storage hormone. So everything you eat after you've gotten pissed, your body's just straight storing everything, and because it's still prioritizing trying to remove, hence why we what do you call it? Break the chain. What's it called? Break the chain. Break the seal.
Yeah.
The body's just trying to remove
right.
it.
Yeah.
Now the body, it doesn't want it there.
Buzzy.
Hence why we're getting it inebriated, right? So in the sense of it helping you physically achieve your goals, health, everything like that. Like it's not doing anything and any bit beneficial for you. And on the flip side, if we look at takeaways is just a lot of calories. There's still some form of nutrients in there, so you and essentially there's some benefit that you do get from having it. Whereas alcohol, like there's kind of no benefit at all other than it being socially, of your connection with people and having a good time.
Yeah. Wow. And it's what buzzes me out when I look at this from just looking back at my own personal journey is that we are just so accustomed to just really hurting ourselves and really like accepting that it's just good to hurt ourselves, I guess, or like good to be in that space, or yeah, it just seems so buzzy looking back, and I'm just fully not judging myself or anyone else, but to really just like you wouldn't go and eat something that's going to be poisonous.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have that distinction already from just general knowledge, but for some reason we have lost the general knowledge of drinking poison isn't bad for us. Like it is bad for us. Like, and it is. I don't know what has happened to get us to that space, but it's just super interesting to look at, and I don't really know the path forward other than trying to bring some awareness to it and shift people's mindset around it. Because like you're saying, like my personal experience, no amount of time off alcohol will change a habit unless you work on the mindset. That's what happened to me. I just fell into other addictions that had similar consequences and similar effects that was happening in my life. So I just traded alcohol for gaming, and that created the same stress in my relationship. And then it went into weed, and then so I was just trading different addictions in different periods of my life and not actually working out why I was doing those things, whether it was being socially accepted or trying to be confident or whatever it was. I wasn't actually gaining that clarity to be able to just stand in my true self and be that confident version of myself. And it wasn't until I started like looking at thoughts and reflecting and figuring out why I was getting impacted by everyone else's presence that I got to be able to stand in my true presence, if that kind of makes sense. But yeah, I don't, like I say, I don't really know the way forward from this, but I'm enjoying these conversations and what's coming out, and appreciating your time, bro.
It's good. The different perspectives essentially like gives you a greater understanding, because now you're able to see it from like so many different directions, and it's always good just to create that awareness for people to see, because this whole thing might miss everything, but there's one thing just in here that for someone it's just like boom, it just clicks, and then it's like, oh fuck, they just, what do you call it? Their paradigm shifts.
Yeah.
Paradigm shifts. Yeah, like you're saying, and I think it is deeply immersed inside the individual, because I always say like yours, the height of your ascension is dependent on the depth of your understanding of yourself, right? So how much do we understand about ourselves and what we're experiencing in these moments? As I think a lot of people, they're trying to replace something. Because if you look at a lot of like philosophers and stuff like that, they say be okay with boredom, and for enlightenment to happen, you have to first breach through boredom, and that's the ability to just sit there with yourself to then like actually hear that conscience, right? To hear the conscience telling you of like, this is the red direction you need to go. This is what you need to be doing. Where it's like, even I find social media is the big one now. It's like to check our phone is the default response to our boredom.
Yeah.
So people just automatically, as soon as they start getting bored, boom, pull the phone out. And I struggle with that for sure. Like it's very addicting, especially now as like my page grows. And like I know if I go in there, I can get a dopamine hit by looking at all the likes and comments and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh shit, it gets me wild. But then because I've gone through the process of being able to see my own thoughts and observe myself from outside, from a third person view, I can see myself doing it. I'm like, hey bro, like you got to get off here.
Fully.
Yeah.
Yep, it is super addicting and so easy to get trapped in it, because you are getting those instant dopamine, like you say, and losing just so much time. And like you say, it's just avoidance of those thoughts. I mean, same with alcohol. It's just avoiding those thoughts, or not even giving yourself a chance to really reflect.
Yeah.
I kind of have my own answer to this question, but when people are trying to, their thoughts are just so busy and they're trying to figure out like their path to choose and trying to make the right decision for themselves. What is your thinking for choosing their right path or following their intuition? Like,
I think it's in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I think he says your path is indicated, not found. So through, again, going back to ourselves and understanding ourselves, we begin to understand what our purpose is. And I think both you and I know with having kids, your kids automatically give you a purpose and a sense of urgency to what you do. Me and the bro were talking about this last week about one of our friends. We both got children. He doesn't, and then he was wondering, like, sometimes at work he'll be mahi hard, and then sometimes he'll just stop and be like, fuck, I can't be bothered, And it's kind of like that loss of the urgency to realize like I gotta get shut down to achieve this purpose. But in saying of like figuring out that purpose, there's also another book. You ever read The Way of the Superior Man by David Dieter?
No, I haven't read that one, but I've read the Habits book.
Yeah, he talks about there, for a man to find his purpose, he can either remove all pleasure or challenge himself.
Mm.
And when I think about that and my journey, I did both. I removed all pleasure, and then I challenged myself by trying to be extremely disciplined. But in that, I figured myself out more, right? I found more direction. I gave myself purpose.
Mm.
But it's like if your number one problem is alcohol, like trying to remove things outside of alcohol instead of just the initial biggest problem, you're kind of beating around the bush. So
Yeah.
if you just remove that pleasure or take on that challenge that's at the head of the snake, you cut that off, it makes everything else easier.
100%.
So yeah, it's like make your life a little bit harder and remove some comfort. Don't make life too easy, and like find something that you like. I always say, like, if you look at 75 hard, going back to the PT kind of thing, I tell people that, should I do 75 hard? I'm like, no, fuck that, because that's almost impossible for every person.
Yeah.
It's just realistic. I was like, what is hard is hardest for you.
Yeah.
And whatever that is, you need to go do that.
Yeah.
Because then it makes more sense and it gives you more purpose because it's actually hard for you. It's instead of just being like, you got to go do an ice bath every morning. Like, come on, bro.
I think the only reason you can go to those extremes is like having an extreme pain of some sort. Like, oh, you're going to die in 6 months if you don't create this change. Or I think that's when it's effective. But yeah, I'm in a similar boat with guiding men through without the need of alcohol, of like, yeah, if you need to have like 2 non-alcoholic drinks before you have your other drinks, then you can do that. Or it doesn't have to be this extreme straight cut or whatever. Do what is achievable, and then keep your word to yourself, and then that'll compound by keeping your word to yourself, and then that can grow into like at the gym. You don't go to the gym and lift the heaviest weight. You go from the weights that you can lift and then progress from there. Same sort of aspect. So yeah, and the other thing that I am trying to do is, like, everyone has like a gut feeling, and I think people have lost that touch from going into that gut feeling. People experience it when they have pain, but deep down you kind of know in your gut, rather than looking in your head, what path you want and where you want to go. So I'm trying to allow people to just tune into that and follow that, and because when you're out of alignment. And then if you do something in an action, that also gives you the clarity of if you're in alignment as well. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to help men get to, is just find that gut feeling. And everybody knows deep down their direction.
Yeah. And I get you and I, with our own experience going back, we can understand how hard it is to actually trust ourselves when so many times we've let ourselves down, and then when you look at how you're doing it, instead of trying to cut everything out, think sustainable, like, because all you need to do is just commit to one thing, and then next week make a little bit big commitment, commit to that, and then like it just builds on itself to the point where now your honor becomes more important than your feelings, right?
Yeah.
And then you just build this thing where you're like, fuck, I'm invincible because I keep committing and I keep doing it, and you just keep showing up, and it's like, fuck, I can do it, and then it just snowballs, right? That's exactly how I try to teach my clients when they come through. It's like, if they're not ready, we figure out what level they're, and it's like, okay, what's the most sustainable step that we can take right now? And then and then we celebrate that win. You know,
Yeah.
it might not be the big goal that you want, but it's a quality of that big goal that's going to lead you there. You know?
100%. I think we underestimate the. Well, we don't do enough. For one, is celebrating ourselves, but two, I think we compare our wins to other people, and we don't realize that we have these wins. I think it's super important what you're saying is you really celebrate whatever that thing is. That it doesn't have to be big in your context, in your eyes, but actually, if you look at it, it is big for you because you've been experiencing this other stuff in the past where you haven't done it, and now you've done 1 week or whatever that you have. It's like that's a massive win. I think we so easily can compare to everybody else and not realize the steps that we're actually taking are huge.
Right. Yeah. Go back. Yeah. That's that doing what's hardest for you, right? Doing what's hardest, and then also going back to like that. Challenging yourself and removing pleasure. One of the big things that I did also was just get off social media. Like, even if it's starting with a day, spend not a day, then move it to 2 days, 3 days, 3 days. Bro, and I'll tell you what, when I spent 2 months off social media, going back to like when I first created social media, then I broke up with my baby mama. After that, I just got off social media, you know, and I spent like 2 months of just like challenging myself, removing pleasure, you know, like got rid of a lot of the TV, the social media, and then just spent a lot of time of just sitting there and thinking, like, and that in itself just helped a lot, you know.
And I think just so people aren't getting. It can be super confronting when you're in that space to, I know for me personally, be super uncomfortable to just sit, turn your phone onto airplane mode or whatever, and just sit with yourself. The only real thing I could suggest is just allow those thoughts to come and not judge them and not need it to make anything about you or anything, because otherwise we can sit in the space and it can lead into a not so great place as well. So I think it's super important to be aware that when you're looking at these thoughts, not to judge yourself and just allow them to be and allow them to drift by and not attach yourself to them.
Yeah, the good point on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely see if someone's judging, or you know, because their inner voice could already be very critical of themselves, and then just silence is like a lot louder.
Yeah,
you could definitely see that.
It's especially if I work with the youth I live on the island, Great Barrier Island, and I work with the youth here. So if I was to suggest that to them, I know that they could go, and I've already seen it go into some dark places. So yeah, it is super important to just. You can even do it with other people as well, I think, which is a super more comforting space to just do it around with other people and just sit and enjoy just each other's presence.
Yeah. Well, to touch on that, like the power of just conversation, right? Just to talk about it. And that is essentially, you know, like having good people that you can trust and that you can talk to, you know, who also won't judge you but will be there to listen. You know, that's powerful in itself, because I feel like if we go back to that community of now where we all kind of live this individual lives, whereas back in the community we had people to talk to all the time. You know, so if we had something here on our chest, we could just talk about it, and then you have all these people here to support you. You know, because that's definitely how tikanga Māori, that how we live in communities. That's how we operate. Like, you need someone to talk to. Like, we're all here. You know, we all support you. So you feel something here, or you need to get something off your chest, there's no judgment. Just let it out, bro. And then in that letting it out, the scariness is just opening your mouth and saying it.
Yeah. 100%.
And then once you say it, you're like, I'm glad I said that. You know.
It's like taking just a whole lot of weight off your shoulders. That's what I feel like. It's just, yeah, you don't have to carry it all. You don't have to just tend to be this solid rock all the time. And I think that, and men are really great. I'm part of a men's group here. Are really great when we're around other men. We're actually really great at opening up. And I think there's a misconception of men not being able to open up. We're actually great at it if we're in the right environment for it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm just trying to create with this brotherhood as well, is just this non-judgment space of being able to be fully open in whatever journey you're on.
Yeah.
And like you, I'm sure with what you're trying to create. And I just really like it.
Do you ever find, especially with men, if you like, because if you look at women will just like sit around and they'll literally just chat to each other, like, you know, they don't. Whereas like I found if you put like an objective in the middle, like, hey, let's have a barbecue, or let's build something, or let's go, you know, I don't know, whatever it is, to like kind of take it, decenter off the conversation, and like can kind of be over here doing the barbecue, flicking the meat, but you're having that conversation. It kind of takes the awkwardness away.
That's a really good shout, actually. I'm fully going to do that.
Yeah. I always found it as like, especially with the young fellas at the gym, I'll kind of just, you can kind of tell if something's happening. I'm like, oh, what's happening, bro? You know, and they're like, oh, nothing. And then I'll just like adversely go find us something to do, and then they inherently just start talking about it.
Yeah, wow.
It's taken away the awkwardness of it kind of being face to face.
That's so true. It's because we naturally, when we create that space, we just want to open up and people will want to speak, and so that's cool, man. Really, really cool. We're coming close to an hour. Is it? Oh, I don't want to put this out there, but I'll ask this question, and if you don't like the question, then just tell me. If you were to say your kids were going through what you went through when you were in the depths of alcohol and drugs, what would the thing be that you would say to them to try and help them change their direction?
Oh, that's a hard one, because you'd hope that it would never get to that point, eh?
Yeah. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. Just...
Yeah. Hypothetically speaking, what would I say to them? Oh, I feel like just going off the top of my head, I would just say, like, I'm just here for you, bro. I'm proud of you. I love you. Because that's something I never got. You know, I never told you proud. I love you. If you never need to speak. So it's, for me, it's like, rather than not trying to push the situation, it's just like opening that space for them to walk into, you know? And then within there, like, even how I do it, it's like you need to listen to people to figure out what you need to say to them, or even if they want to hear it. So in that space of hopefully creating that space where they can walk into and then they can express what's happening, I can then ask, like, do you wish to hear what I have to say, you know? And then in that point, I'll be like, cool, try this, you know, start, because if he's got an alcohol habit, it's like, bro, maybe drink less, you know, just like we've talked before, make it sustainable, and then just continue to reinforce that he's not alone, you know, and that people are here for him and we're here to support you. I think that's kind of how I'd approach it, you know.
Nice. So just like opening the space to be able to have those conversations and then getting permission to give advice.
Yes.
And then which leads to you're working as a team to create those solutions, rather than you need to change this. You're fucking this up and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
For me, that never worked for me.
Yeah. You don't, especially as a kid, you don't want to be. You never want to be told what to do.
Yeah.
You know, And I always find, especially in how I try to, even with my PT, it's like try and make it student led, so that they feel like they're leading the way, and I'm kind of just guiding them.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's really good, but try this instead. You know.
Nice. So whereabouts are you based? You said you're in Hamilton, is that right?
I live in Tiamotu.
Tiamotu.
Live in Tiamotu. So I used to live in Hamilton. Yeah.
Nice. Sweet. And what's the gym that you're at?
I work at Club Waipa. So it's the community centre with the pools.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think I used to play squash in Tiamotu.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a couple of weekend tournaments that I used to play there. Good little family town.
It is. It's real nice.
Yeah, man.
Quiet.
Yeah. Cool, bro. Oh, man, I just thank you so much for jumping on and yeah, like I say, just being willing to have these conversations. And I think it's just super important, and to just help people see there's different ways of being, and hopefully by sharing your journey that other people can see there's a different direction, like you have seen with other people that on your journey that influenced you. So yeah, I really appreciate you just being willing to open up and share your journey and the ins and outs, and where you are now. I think is pretty powerful to look back and to see the old version of yourself and be truly standing here, because it could have gone a different way.
For sure.
It fully could have led down a different path, but now you're here and you're speaking about this, and you're speaking from a powerful place. So yeah, massive congrats, man. I think it's super cool.
Thank you, bro. It's my pleasure. It's always good. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Cool, man. Hopefully we connect some more, man, and might see you over there at some stage.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, Bryce.
You too, Josh.
All right, man.
Okay, ciao, brother. Cheers, man.